Hi, Bill Caskey here, author of Same Game, New Rules, and co-host of the Advanced Selling Podcast with Brian Neal. You know, when I wrote this book, actually when I got into sales, that's probably a better place to start. When I got into sales, I wasn't a big process person. In fact, most of us who are in sales, I don't think got there because we love data and we love procedures and love process. I think we all liked people and we are all social. And so now when we have to compete and we have to modernize our thinking in terms of the new rules of the market, we need to become better process people. We need to think more process and procedurally. I say in the book, in this chapter, that I think engineers can make the best salespeople because they think linearly. And I think we sales professionals have to start thinking linearly. It doesn't mean we act logically and act always linearly, but we have to think, what is the process that we want to engage in with our potential client to get us from where we are currently to the end of the line? And I think that we salespeople don't do this often enough. So I think it's important for us to think process. Number one is I think we need to be good at setting the stage. And so setting the stage with a prospect is all things that revolve around what's going to happen today. So if I'm on a first call with a potential client, I may say, look, thanks for inviting me in today. Here's what typically happens when we come in to see someone like you is we usually spend the first few minutes talking about your objectives and your state of mind and your circumstances. And then I'll share with you a little bit about how we work and the kind of customers and clients we work with and the kind of problems we solve. And then after that, we can talk a little bit more in depth about your situation, your circumstances, who might be involved in the decision, what kind of ramifications happen if you don't get this fixed. And then at the end, we can decide what the next steps are, if any. So do you see what I did there in that first call is I gave some process. Before we just launch into, well, tell me what your problems are, I laid out the process. That way it's a framework they can fit into. And it's really important, especially if the prospect doesn't buy what you sell every day. Like if I walk into the grocery store wanting a gallon of milk, I don't have somebody there meeting me at the store saying, what are you looking for today? And I say, well, I'm looking for a gallon of milk. And they say, okay, here's the process. First, you go down aisle 7, you go to the refrigerator department, you find the milk, you bring it up, we'll check you out and you can be on your way. I know how that works. But if you're selling something that is not purchased often, you have to lay out the process. Give the prospect some comfort so they know how to act within the process. If you don't, guess whose process they will follow? It's not yours, it's theirs. And their process doesn't allow for your solution in all the parts of the process that are very important. You've got to have a part of the process that deals with how you work. You have to have a part that deals with the kinds of questions you'll ask, the kind of diagnostic you'll give. If you want to bring other people from the prospect company into the process, you have to lay that out as well. So in chapter 23, we get into the details of the process, but this is an important chapter because it deals with how you need to start thinking about process. Dan Sullivan, who runs a company called Strategic Coach up in Toronto, always talks about how we've got to replace process, we've got to replace personality with process. So sales typically has been a personality-based business. It's our strong personalities that get us in the door and that help us have the right relationship and rapport. But you don't want to get away from personality, but you have to replace a little bit of that with process. That way your business gets scalable. And plus, when you have a process, you always know where you are and where you need to go too. So read this chapter, it's really important. Also, make sure you read chapter 23 where we lay out all the stages of the process. See you next time.